Alrighty lads, it is once again that time of the month where I tell you the events that are going to be coming out for the month of December over here on the NA side of things, and it's going to be an absolute slobber knocker. We got a ton of events and different campaigns coming in that I don't know if I'll actually get all of them individually. I know, I tell you guys that I'm going to give you 100% accurate information, but there are so many tiny little mini campaigns that dropped around this time on the JP side of things, and we're kind of in the middle of a multitude of different campaigns that if they blindside me with something, I'm apologizing in advance. But I will at least make sure you know all of the major and most of the minor campaigns that are going to be coming out. And with that being said, instead of just doing a long drawn out intro, let's just start getting into this because there is a decent bit to cover. So first and foremost, one thing that you should be aware of, and you should be logging in every single day regardless, but the month of December for the NA side of things has an advent calendar, which if you don't know what that is, basically every single day you log in, you get a little reward in addition to your normal login bonus. So not only are you getting the daily missions, your usual weekly login bonus, but you are going to be getting things like tickets, QP, Saint Quartz, Monoprisms. You even might walk away with a couple of apples. So it further incentivizes you to not break your login streak for the month of December. And you also get a nice little additional batch of Saint Quartz at the very end of everything. It's super nice, so make sure you are logging in every single day. Last year we got like 30 Saint Quartz, 5 tickets, 5 gold apples, 12 million QP. Mostly you're going to be caring about the currency, I imagine, but hey, like the 5 apples are nothing to scoff at. A couple of tickets here, a little bit of QP there. It's just kind of nice to get, especially because you don't really have to do anything. You just have to log into the game to get these rewards. But that is the first major thing to be aware of that kind of differentiates December from some of the other months. The other thing that we're going to be getting right after this in a couple of weeks, or if not a couple of days from now, is going to be the Christmas 2020 rerun. Now, one thing to keep track of for this event, it is a lotto rerun. So before you get super excited and go, oh my goodness, I just got to farm Morganfest and now I'm going to get to farm another lotto, I got to pump the brakes on that a little bit because the rerun is limited to 20 boxes only, which does suck a little bit. If you are somebody that was, maybe holding off on going all in on the Morgan Lotto because you wanted to hit this one, you are punished a little bit for that. Now, it is still a pretty decent amount of rewards. You're still going to get the usual, the apples, you're going to get the EXP, you're going to be getting skill items for each of the different classes. You're also going to be getting some dust, some fluids, some seeds, and some horseshoes, but you're not going to be able to get a nigh infinite amount of them, but you also still get the QP as well. So just treat this as a nice little thing that you can farm, but you don't need to go absolutely broke to go ahead and farm this, which is still rather nice. It also gives you another shot at getting Santa Karna as a free-to-play servant, who isn't like the most broken free-to-play by any stretch of the imagination, but he's also not bad. He's kind of one of those middle-of-the-road ones, in my opinion, that if you have a beginning to maybe like mid-game level box where you haven't really built up all of your characters, haven't been pulling the most crazy 5 stars yet, he will do you rather good. But once you start to get some stronger single targets, he might slowly phase out of your different team comps, but he is still rather solid, right? If you want to use this guy, if you really like Karna, maybe you're just a big fan of Fate Apocrypha, you can get some decent mileage out of this guy and continue to use him even as you move into the late game stages of your account. But again, mostly going to be very useful for those beginner characters, just a strong free-to-play servant to get. I'll go into more detail on this rerun whenever we actually get it announced over here on the NA side of things, and I would feel really dumb if they announced it like when this video goes up. They're like, all right, it's going to be coming out in a couple of days, but whenever that does happen, I will drop the event guide, as I have done this event like 3 or 4 times by this point, so I'm pretty experienced when it comes to telling people how to get through it. They are adding a 90++, which may not sound, special for anybody that's been playing for the course of this year, but this event is actually so old that it did not launch with a 90++ on it. So they went ahead and retroactively added one. And so if you do want to go ahead and farm for a little bit of extra rewards and a little bit of extra bond, that will also be available. And I will drop a guide on how you want to go ahead and get through that whenever the event, properly is announced. The other major thing that we're going to be getting going into this month is preparation for Lostbelt 7. Now, you probably have already seen the Castoria banner that dropped. I just did a video yesterday talking about, the Oberon rerun banner, pretty much like the best banner of the year, because not only is Oberon on there, but you also have the opportunity to get Melusine, and Muramasa effectively being the worst 5-star on that banner tells you how good that banner is, considering that he is not bad by any stretch of the imagination. But if you already have those servants, or maybe you're just not interested in them, or you really do want to be doing some some buster farming for part 4 of the Lostbelt 7 campaign, which should drop in about like a week from now, maybe a week and a half. We should be getting Koyanskaya of Light coming back around, and this is a mission critical must-have servant. Now, she is a little bit quirky when it comes to doing the different buster farming, because it's not like arts and quick farming where theoretically anybody could do it with enough batteries or enough, refunding ability. With buster farming, you need specific batteries. You have to actually do math, which is really funny for, the Unga Bunga buster card. You have to do the most amount of math. And with Koyanskaya just herself, you're going to be relegated to using mostly 50% battery servants. There are some 30% battery exceptions, like say Artoria Saber, who's able to refund 20% on her NP that allows her to do it with Koyanskaya. But hey, that's where Oberon comes in. Oberon opens you up to being able to use some 30% battery servants. But regardless, at the end of the day, you do need Koyanskaya of Light to get the job done. She's also going to pair very, very nicely with Kukulkan, who's, just an okay servant. She's alright, has this mechanic where she does Unga Bunga damage if she has some stars, and oh, would you look at that, Koyanskaya's second skill immediately drops stars, as well as just being the servant that facilitates buster farming in general. So if you want Kukulkan and you want to use her to the absolute full power ability, or you want to use Morgan 3 when she comes out for anniversary, or whatever have you, any of these buster servants, you want to go ahead and get yourself Koyanskaya of Light. When that drops, I'll probably make a video talking about it, being like, hey, Koyanskaya of Light is out, here's why you should go summon for her and everything. So, if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll be updated and notified whenever that does happen. But I'm sure I don't have to tell people to go ahead and summon for one of the best servants in the game. Another campaign that we're going to be getting later on is going to be the Winter Party campaign, or whatever they decide to call it over here on the NA side of things. It's basically a rerun for Moriarty Ruler, and it's going to be Lambda or Melt Lance or whatever you want to call her. As much as I like both of these servants, I don't really think it's the most crazy thing to be summoning on, as Moriarty and Lambda are both very strong servants individually, but I think ironically enough, with them being on the same banner, they do both suffer from lower NP syndrome, meaning you really want to get them to NP2 if not higher, because their NP1 damage leaves a little bit to be desired. But just wanted to let you guys know that they will be going back on Raid Up if these are some characters that you are wanting, especially knowing, how much people like their waifus in this game. There is going to be a summer servant coming back around, so, if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and summon. But make sure you are saving those Saint Quartz for Lostbelt 7 releasing. If it's anything like the JP side of things, it should be releasing around Christmas Day to around New Year's, kind of depending on when they want to drop it over here for us. But Lostbelt 7, without going into too many spoilers, is bringing some absolutely powerful servants alongside it. Not only are we getting Nidocris Alter, who's going to be on every single banner. It is an arts AoE servant with a 100% battery and the ability to buff the party as well, so she's not only a looper but can also kind of be a little bit of a pseudo support. But then we get Tetskalipoka, who is a very, very powerful arts AoE assassin that is kind of like Tai Gong in the way that instead of just doing double Castoria, you could just do double Tetskalipoka and be able to just double loop your way through everything, as they both pretty much give everything to the entire party. Not only do they have self batteries, but they're able to give batteries to the other members of the party. It's a fun time all around, but obviously I talked about her just a couple of minutes ago. Kukulkan is the main servant that you're going to be going for if you're going to be summoning for the new meta servant. She is so disgustingly broken that I probably don't have to tell you how good she is. Most people have been waiting for her since she was announced over on JP. And she has not gotten any worse. I mean, she is the first servant outside of Castoria to take advantage of Solemn Defense, because any invincibility buff that she has passively gets turned into Solemn Defense. She does a insane amount of damage. I mean, you'll see stuff like, say, the FGO damage chart say, well, she's not hitting that hard, but it kind of feels like a little bit of propaganda on my point, because it's like, well, you need 20 stars for her to do those damage, and it's like, hey, dummy, who guarantees 20 stars for her? Oh my goodness, it's Koyanskaya of Light. And even if for whatever reason it's like, well, what if you don't want to bring Koyanskaya of Light to an advanced quest? Maybe you don't have your own Koyanskaya of Light. How good is she going to be there? And it's just as if we don't have CEs that automatically bomb stars as soon as you enter the battlefield, or there's not other servants that drop stars immediately. It is like the easiest condition to find for getting some of the highest damage in the game. But thankfully, you should not have to worry about Kukulkan coming out during the month of December. She might not even come out during the month of January, as I believe it was rather late into January, if not early February, when she dropped over on JP. So you do have a little bit of time before she actually drops over here. So just be concerned about, Nidocris Alter and Tetskalipoka and Tlaloc coming out as well, who I know a lot of people are also very excited about, because she's going to be the 4-star on all of these banners and is fairly solid herself. Not the most broken servant, but she's alright, she's cute. We can always make an exception for a servant if they're cute enough, right? You know, you can be okay, but as long as you're cute, that's an A-okay in my book. Finally, we will be getting Advanced Quest Part 12 over here on the NA side of things. We just got Part 11 and they're giving us another one, and this is one of those ones where normally I would give you guys the guide in this video, but I have these all cleared on my JP account, but I don't remember doing them, so I'm assuming I just kind of blitzed into them and beat them up. So whenever it does drop over here on the NA side of things, I'll drop a proper guide for all of them and all that good stuff. I know I missed out on 11. I might just go back and record it anyway, just so it's there for maybe people in the future that are like, how do I beat Advanced Quest Part 11? You know, I'll just still have it up. Well, look, the holidays kind of slid into there and had different plans for me, but now we're back to the daily scheduled programming of uploading every single day. So with all that being said, I hope this was short, sweet, and simple for you, just letting you know the stuff that we're going to be getting for the month of December. Let me know what you're most excited for. For me, I blew all of my Saint Quartz trying to go for NP4 Castoria, so I will be summoning on nothing and will be crying when I do not pull for Kukulkan. But aside from that, I'm excited to get some extra material, I guess, from the Lotto rerun. I'm excited for Lostbelt 7. If you're a newer player or someone that has not been keeping up with JP and you're kind of worried like, oh, the boss fight's going to be super hard, is this going to be something that I need to stress about? I will drop a guide talking about all the bosses and whatnot that you need to be concerned about, but I would say that Lostbelt 7 is more annoying than anything else, as a lot of the bosses are very gimmicky. And I will say that there is a huge spoiler boss that, you know, everybody's been talking about for the last 2 years, but that guy's kind of a bozo. He is very easy. People greatly inflate how hard that boss is. And even in the fact that people will say, oh, you got to have hundreds of servants on your account to clear that guy. Dude, I had like 30 or 40 and I got through that. I did that like 8 months into my JP account's, you know, lifespan. So it's really not all that difficult. If you know what you're doing and you know what to expect, it's really not that difficult. In fact, I'd go as far to say that a lot of the fights are actually really fun. One of the last fights is one that I'm really looking forward to doing again because it has a very cool mechanic that they really haven't used ever since they did that fight. So won't spoil too much for people that don't want the full, you know, details on everything on that or don't want to be insinuated as to what we're going to be getting. But for those people that do, be on the lookout for a Lostbelt 7 boss guide type of video. It'll probably be titled something along those lines. But for everybody else, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Make sure you leave a like on the video. Maybe even subscribe if you found this video helpful. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. Late, guys.